Well, the Bucks are back at it, and so are we. Welcome to another edition of PewterPirates.com. I'm your host, Mike Nabors. Now, you know in this Bucks camp, the #1 competition are those place kickers. You have the second-year guy, Roberto Aguayo, and the veteran, Nick Folk. Now, so far in this camp, and that included today, these guys have really been mano a mano. They've made some long kicks. They've also struggled at times. And I had a chance to talk to both of them in this competition after today's practice. Let's talk about your mindset this camp after what you went through last year.
Just coming out here having fun, just going back to the younger days and didn't worry about really just what you had to do. Just go out there and do what you love and just go out there and kick the ball.
I mean, you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have your good days, bad days. Just got to remember, more good than bad. And, anytime you have competition, you should bring out the best in you. And I feel like I'm kicking all right now. Got a few things to clean up, but we got a little bit of time till Cincinnati. So clean it up and get ready to go.
Just go out there, kick the ball. You're going to miss some, you're going to make some, and you just got to go out there and excited and just going out there and having fun, really.
When you're in that competition, how is the communication? How do you, as a veteran, you have a younger guy, I mean, how does that whole dynamic work?
Kicking is so different because it's not like quarterbacks where every motion they want, you kind of want to be the same. Hold on, buddy. Every kicker's got his own little weird technical things that they want to do, and so it's hard to, because we kick so differently. But it's it's good. We've had a good relationship so far.
It's a competition. It's always good. It's always going to make you better.
So those are the thoughts of the competitors, but I also had a chance to talk to an interesting guy today. How about the best kicker in Buccaneer history, Martin Gramatica. Now, Gramatica knows Nick Folk, but he also has a good relationship with Aguayo. Had a chance to consult him a little bit, but he also says he wants to pick his spots, not bug Aguayo too much unless he reaches out. So I asked Gramatica, compare Aguayo in this camp to when he struggled a year ago.
I think this year he needs to come in with just forget about the second round and all what people are talking about, and try to go back to the fundamentals, to go back to what he did in college, because it worked. So the more mental and the more he starts thinking about it, that's the worst he can do. So if he can just relax and start from scratch, that'll be the best he can do.
All right, time for our 3 and Out segment with our only Bucks insider, Roy Cummings. And Roy, we're talking about kickers a lot, but let's face it, it's the biggest competition in camp, and it's a huge story.
Yeah, it really is. It's a huge story nationally, not just here in Tampa Bay, but everybody's, I think, paying attention to what's going on with Nick Folk and Roberto Aguayo, and it got more interesting today. Again, they had them involved in some pressure situations, had them kicking field goals at the end of the 2-minute drill where they started practice with that today. They were pretty good there, but then they went into a different kind of a drill where they had each of them kicking a little bit longer field goals, one down the center, one off the left hash, and not so good there. Roberto Aguayo 5 for 8, and Nick Folk 5 for 7. So a couple of real bad misses there. Dirk Cutter said himself didn't really look all that great. So, I still think it's even at this point, but this is definitely one to watch as we go forward, because right now it's still too close to call.
All right, second down with Roy Cummings. Now the play of the day, Roy, was the defense once again. Getting the takeaways done. Jameis Winston around the goal line situation. Javian Elliott tipping the ball. We have the video right here. Vernon Hargraves with the pick 6. Here are Elliott's comments before we get Roy's.
First thing was the formation recognition. Communication is key. Me and Vern, we was talking, and then I tried to make the play, and then Vern came through and made a better play.
Gators and Seminoles helping each other out, right?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Yeah, you can't keep those Seminoles and Gators away from each other, Roy. Elliott, a great story, and you see this a lot in training camps. A guy who wasn't drafted, made the team late last year, and is contributing already in this training camp.
Yeah, he really is a great story, because he's come really kind of out of nowhere. I mean, he was a real nice player at Florida State, no doubt about it, but came in here last year as an undrafted free agent, found his way onto the roster, and then found his way into the lineup when Jude Barima had to step away to serve a suspension for PED violation. So, he really took advantage of the opportunity. Right now, he's getting the first team reps at that slot corner, and the reason is the plays you just saw there. I mean, this is a guy who really has a nose for the football. He was a guy that I think surprised a lot of people at Florida State, too. He's a smaller guy. A lot of people look at him and say, measurables and things like that, he shouldn't be a top-level corner, but he really is, and he's really helping this football team. He's got a chance to really be something special.
All right, third down, Roy Cummings. A busy day here at One Buck. You had training camp practice, and you had a press conference for the new inductees to the Ring of Honor. You have Malcolm Glazier and Ho. You have Chucky, John Gruden. You covered John Gruden for a lot of years. What do you remember about covering John Gruden?
I'll tell you what, he was a lot of fun, really. As a coach, he was a lot of fun because you never really knew what he was going to say. There was a time where somebody suggested that he run Mike Allstott in a game against the Vikings. You know, told him, hey, you know what? Mike Allstott's really good against the Vikings. You ought to run him against the Vikings this week. He ran him against the Vikings. Allstott ran about 22 times for about 45 yards. John Gruden came back, yeah, which one of those 2-yard runs did you like the most? That was John. I mean, he would give it to you. It was a good back and forth with him all the time. He always kept it real. He was fun. He was a lot of fun to cover.
You knew he'd be a good announcer one day, and that's what he's been. We'll see if he gets into coaching. But here's what John Gruden had to say at today's press conference. Envision that this honor would happen for you, or this day would happen for you?
Oh, I mean, even to be considered for it is a great honor. I got a lot of respect for pro football and these 32 franchises. Like I said, my dad coached here. A lot of my greatest memories in life were with this franchise. They used to run me out of here when I was a kid because I would steal Bill Capice's turf shoes. I would take Scott Brantley's Copenhagen out of his locker. Doug Williams, I used to throw the ball drills against the linebackers. Hugh Green, Cecil Johnson, all those guys would intercept my passes. So those were the greatest days of my life. And then to come back here as a head coach with these group of guys and to have a chance to win a Super Bowl, you'd be emotional too.
Always good stuff from John Gruden. We appreciate Roy Cummings. That wraps up another edition of pewterpirates.com. Please log on to our site and subscribe, and we welcome all sponsors. That'll wrap it up for today's practice. We'll be back out here once again on Thursday. See you next time.